This week's episode of The Careers Couch, brought to you by the team at Career Building. Join the team as they talk everything about careers, recruitment, HR, and all the latest news and market trends from different industries. Recorded live in the Sydney studio at the Career Building HQ.
Hello and welcome to this week's Careers Couch and why you should not be looking for work-life balance, Scott.
What?
Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about why you as a candidate should not be looking for work-life balance and why it's a bit of a myth.
Yes, well, there's a bit of research out there that suggests work-life balance these days is very, very hard to achieve. What do you reckon are some of the reasons why it's not happening these days?
I think more and more employers want more out of their employees, but also there is a bit of flexibility in that, and I think there's a few things that you can look at. You know, social people on social media and LinkedIn, and access to mobile phones, so they're always connected. Their emails as well, they're always getting pinged about certain things. I think I got a call at 8 o'clock last night from a candidate saying, "Can you get me the job?" I was like, "Oh, mate, I'm going to bed."
Yeah, it's completely different to the 1980s. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, you just couldn't be contacted. You'd work 9 to 5, and that was it.
Yep.
These days, I think in the 90s and 2000s, the boss gave you a mobile phone, and if he gave you one and paid for it, I think he expected you to answer it.
Yep, and I think globalisation as a whole as well. A lot of companies like LinkedIn's and Facebook's and Google's, they've got offices in all sorts of places in the world. I know my partner, for example, has to do calls with Singapore, India, the US, so they're not online at the 9 to 5. So you've got to be available when they're ready. So.
Yeah, and even the tradies are taking calls at 8 o'clock at night asking if people can do a quote and things like that. So it happens to everybody.
It does. So we are going to talk about how you can actually achieve a type of work-life balance and get a bit of work-life balance, and I guess that's one of separators, Scott.
Yeah. Well, we came across some research that was published by the Organisational of Dynamic Journal, which is an obscure thing to come across. But they suggested 3 different things that you can add to your life to give you a work-life balance, or they call it a work-life dynamic.
Yep.
And one of the first things they suggested is, and it depends on your personality and your work and what you do, but one of the ideas they had was being a separator.
Yes, separating your work from your day-to-day duties, I guess, like having a switch-off time.
Yes, yep.
So some companies are doing this now. So Laing O'Rourke has brought this in here in Australia, where you get no emails from 7 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning, I think it is, or 8 in the morning. So basically, if someone hits send, it gets held in the cloud and doesn't get released. That way you're not getting pinged while you're watching Netflix or looking after your kids. So it gives you a bit of downtime to do that. And I think that's actually quite an important one if you have that availability to do so.
Yeah, if it can be done. Obviously, there's some employers, if the person goes home and says, right, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going to turn my phone off, they're probably not going to like that. No. But I guess having a chat to your employer, working out what suits you and your family, and definitely finding boundaries and rules where you say, I'm available here, and communicate it to your family and say, at 6 o'clock every night we're going to be having dinner and my phone will be off, and yours should be too, kids.
Yep. And you might set up an email out of office kind of thing for that time. Contact me in the morning, or contact someone else in the business, or something like that as well.
Absolutely.
So that's good. The other one is integrators. So Scott's a big one with integrators. He loves integrating his work with his family. Scott, tell us how you do that.
It's a tough one, and I guess I'm like probably many other people. So a bugbear of mine is I might go home a little bit early. I might get home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And my kids see me and assume that means I'm finished work for the day. Then my phone rings. I pick it up, and they're cranky because I'm at home but still talking on the phone.
Yep. But I guess the flip side of that is, your kids have their sporting carnivals, their athletics carnivals, and you go, well, I'm going to watch them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is a work-life balance, again, where you need to communicate with your family and your employer and try and fit in where, there's periods of the day where you will be working, periods of the day where you won't be working, and usually you need to come to a compromise and maybe make up time at the end of the day or start earlier so that you can integrate other aspects of your life into your job.
And I guess it comes down to the type of job you're doing as well. So not all jobs you might not be able to leave at a certain time, but you might go back to the separators and use that kind of thing. And the last one is the cycler, which is, I thought it's an interesting thing. I don't know if it's a mammal or whether it's a person riding around on a bike, but the cycler is someone that has variable shifts and I guess, or a variable working balance. So, for example, hotels on the Gold Coast, their most busiest time is school holiday times, and their downtime is between the school holidays because they're a lot less busy. And I know a lot of the managers up there, the building managers and facilities managers, they would take time off in that time. They'd work extra hours, longer hours, because everyone's going, yay, we got to go and holiday here, and the staff and maintenance are all doing the same. But they'd cycle through the cycles of their business, I guess. Yeah.
I guess in the construction industry, the cycle is 2 or 3 weeks off at Christmas time.
It is. So it really depends on your industry, but you've got to, I think if you've got a seasonal job like something that does with school holidays or, I don't know, fruit picking or something like that, and you're going to be busy, make sure you take that downtime when you're not busy. Yep. And that way you're getting that actual work-life balance. I know I've done it in the past where I've had a month off to go to Bali because there was going to be no work. So
exactly. All right, before we close out, how are people going to find us?
Well, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. All the platforms. Check out our stories, the audiograms. We're on 20 different podcast channels as well. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and follow. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. We'd love to hear about your comments and tell us how you're also getting work-life balance.
Yeah, indeed. So I guess to close out the show today, work-life balance is hard to achieve. So it's more about trying to find a work-life situation that suits you and integrating other things into your working and your life to make it work for you.
Yep, and we've given you 3 ways to do it. There was the separators, the integrators, and the cyclers. So get your liker on, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
And that's another episode from us. We hope you had some great takeaways. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Careers Couch.